Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nur Shakira binti Ahmad Tajuddin and my matrix number is 293971. Today I'm going to present about the current issue, which is crepe controversy. A crepe vendor required customers to spend a minimum of 50 ringgit to purchase her crepes. The post, along with a picture of the vendor stall, quickly gained traction, garnering hundreds of shares and comments. Many comment from netizens that such a minimum spending requirement was unheard of for street food vendors, especially considering the crepes are typically priced between 2 ringgit to 5 ringgit each. The vendor, however, defended her stance, claiming that the minimum spending requirement was necessary due to rising costs of ingredients and operational expense. She also stated that she clearly displayed the requirement at her stall and customers were free to choose not to patronize her if they disagree. Next point is who is involved. The crepe vendor, the individual is responsible for setting the minimum spending requirement for customers purchasing crepes. Next is customers. They are the individuals who patronize the crepe vendor and in this case are affected by the minimum spending requirement. Next is netizens. Netizens or users on social media express their disapproval of the minimum spending requirement, shared their opinions and participated in discussions. So why it happened? First, rising costs. This could encompass various factors including the escalating prices of raw materials such as ingredients for the crepes, as well as operational costs like rent, utilities, and labor. Next is lack of alternative. It implies that given the economic constraints or industry challenge, the vendor might believe that implementing a minimum spending requirement is a necessary measure to sustain their business. Last is miscommunication. It could imply that customers were not adequately informed about the reasons behind the minimum spending requirement, leading to confusion or misunderstanding. So what are the impact? Negative publicity. Negative publicity can encompass online comments, reviews, and discussion that may impact the vendor's business and public image. Next is customer dissatisfaction. Dissatisfied customers may express their displeasure through negative reviews or vocal criticism on social media platforms. As Muslims, we can learn that Islam champions fairness and justice in all dealings. This translates to business striving for honest pricing and refraining from practices that exploit or manipulate customers. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ emphasized in the hadith, the believer gives full measure and full weight, and the wrongdoer gives short measure and short weight. This underscores the importance of fair trade practice. Secondly, transparency and honesty are crucial Islamic values. In this case, clear communication about pricing and any minimum purchase requirement would have helped prevent misunderstanding and build trust with customers. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, truthfulness is goodness and goodness leads to paradise. Conversely, falsehood is evil and evil leads to hellfire. This highlights the importance of transparency in all facets of life, including businesses. What I feel about it, while I understand the vendor struggle with a rising cost, requiring a minimum purchase feels unfair to customers, especially considering the traditional affordability of street food like crepes. It's understandable that many online voices express their disapproval. The situation left me torn. I empathize with the vendor's desire to keep her business afloat, but I also worry about the impact on customers and the potential damage to the trust and goodwill built by street food vendors. As someone who enjoys the crepe, I prefer to see vendors thrive through innovative solutions and fair pricing rather than resorting to minimum spends. It ultimately creates a more positive experience for everyone involved. In Islamic POV, fairness and honesty, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said the sellers and the buyers have the right to keep or return goods as long as they have not parted or till they part. And if both the parties spoke the truth and described the defects and qualities of the goods, then they will be blessed in their transaction. And if they told lies or hid something, then the blessing of their transaction would be lost. This hadith underscores the importance of honesty and transparency in transaction, emphasizing that both buyers and sellers have rights in a transaction. Next is respecting customer rights. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, "And don't consume one another's will unjustly or send it in bribery to the rulers in order that they might aid you to consume a portion of the will of the people in sin, while you know it is unlawful." This verse emphasizes the prohibition of unjustly consuming others' wealth and can be extended to emphasize the respect for customers' rights. Unjust practice, such as imposing unreasonable spending requirement, may be seen as contrary to these principles. So I think that's all from me. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.